Hello again, fellow beginning swing traders. Thank you for joining us for our swing trading show on the Beginner Trading Channel. Hope you're doing well today. Please let me know in the chat, how it's going, what you would like to talk about in terms of swing trading, how I can help you be successful in your trading career. It's been a very busy day. I've been up since 4 a.m. and it's been busy since 4 a.m. And I'll share with you some of the excitement for the day and some of the lessons learned. So, again, hello, Walter. Thank you for joining us. Miss Tiny Trades, glad to see you again. John, again, let me know what you'd like to discuss in terms of swing trading, etc. And again, I'll share you some of the excitement from this morning. So, again, I got up at 4 a.m., as I often do, to look for opportunities for gap ups, gap downs, right at the Webull Open. As you can see, I'm using the Webull online browser version. I'm looking at Yang. Yang is the short. It's an ETF that is an inverse short on Chinese tech stocks. And if you listen to my weekly trading game plan from this weekend, this was one that we were watching. We've been watching it for a couple weeks. Again, the Chinese tech stocks, Alibaba, JD, Pinduoduo, etc., have been running up a little bit. They're reopening more. And the inverse of Yang is Yin, YINN. This is a leveraged ETF that's long on the Chinese tech stock. So you can see Yin's been running up, which means Yang's been running down. And I've been waiting for a nice bottom. And then right at 4 a.m., I almost got in last Friday. And then it just didn't quite hit my price target. I probably should have bumped it up, but I'm glad I didn't because these leveraged ETFs rebalance at 4 a.m. and you can see we got a nice gap down to the 1030 areas, and we went long very soon after that at 1041. I think I put my price in, and what I did is I was looking at the level 2 in Webull. And again, it's changed since 4 a.m. But what I do then is once I identify a potential opportunity, I'll look at the level 2, and I want to see where are the blocks, where are the big blocks of buyers, and I want to go about a penny above the biggest block of buyers. And as you could see in the price from 4 a.m., they dropped it down to 1035 or so. There were some buyers at 1040, so I went up to 1041. And now you can see that that swing trade is turning nicely profitable. It's a scalp short-term swing trade. We'll ride it up. I'll move my stops up. You can see it's already crossed above this support level. When it crosses above that next support level, I'll probably put a stop in underneath S2, and then we'll just keep manually moving that stop up as it crosses these support levels until it rolls over, stops me out. I'll take my profits and we'll play it again. Now, again, these things are inverses of one another. So when Yang rolls over and stops me out, I could theoretically go long on Yen. So again, these are great for day trade scalps anytime. I tend to swing them a little bit longer time frame and make a nice profit. Now this guy, you can see he could easily run up to the 12s. And if we go out even farther, this guy could go all the way up to about 2050 or 2250. So I could get a double out of it. And I'm just going to ride it up and see, it tends to peak at some point and then maybe roll over. But if the Chinese government rug pulls the tech stocks again like they have in the past, we could get a double out of this guy. So that was the first excitement for the day. And I hadn't posted that in the beginner trading Discord yet. I was just in the process of doing so. Like I said, it's been a busy morning. So hopefully y'all can take advantage of this. There's again still great opportunity. It's just starting to run. So if you want to get long Yang, I think there's plenty of upside to be had. Again, I would recommend a stop, so that you can take your profits, protect your profits, particularly if you're swing trading while you're working, while you're in school. I don't know how many of you, it'd be nice to know how many of you all are trading while you're working in school, etc., and I can focus more on how to swing trade profitably, even though you're not watching the screens all day. You might be at work, school, etc. In my opinion, swing trading is a great way to make money trading, even if you're not able to watch the screens all day. So that was the first excitement for the day. And again, please put in the comments, any question, anything you want me to focus on. Otherwise, I'll keep jumping around. Yeah. Well, Tyler, yeah. Well, that's great. I think it's great. Again, in my opinion, trading is a life skill, and I believe it's great to learn while you're in school and work as early as possible. It's something you can do for the rest of your life, is make money trading, even in retirement, which, that's what I do. So, and you can keep making money trading and in other ways. Miss Tidy Trader, I do a little bit of options. I typically do covered calls. I haven't really gotten much into other types of options. A lot of my trading is done in retirement accounts, so I have limited options, but I have been looking at like put spreads. Let me see if I can get my Gmail up. I want to be able to show you guys some of my alerts that will be popping up as we go. I'll see if I can get it. I'll work on that in a minute. But again, to answer your question, I put covered calls on some of these positions. For example, I rounded this Yang position up to the nearest 100 shares so that I could, if I wanted to, sell covered calls against it. Particularly if it's underwater. Who's the other guy? Oh, where's the other guy? Oh, John. John's not on the stream right now. He might pop in and out. We'll see. He's kind of letting me run the swing trade side of it, so we'll see again if he pops in from time to time. But yeah, John's a great guy. It's been a pleasure working with him. I appreciate the opportunity. And again, he might pop in from time to time again. So bear with me as I'm trying to get some stuff loaded. So I talked about covered calls. I'm here. Yeah. Yeah, John's in the chat. So again, I talked about covered calls. So if this position wasn't profitable right away, or if it was a longer term position I wanted to hold on to, I could sell covered calls against it and essentially generate my own dividends, make money on either a weekly or monthly basis selling covered calls. We're doing so on some of our other long positions, like on cold, KOLD, which is a short on natural gas. We have a longer term short on natural gas. I'm selling covered calls against that. I've also got a long on drip, which is the short on oil. And I'll also bring up the investing.com site so we can look at the futures. This is our home page. It's beachbumtrading.com, bum without the U. And I have a link section where I keep all my various social media links, my tools. So it's convenient for me to just bring up my home page, and then I can go to whatever other site that I want. So in this case, I'm going to bring up investing.com. We can then look at the futures of oil, natural gas, etc. It's also useful. So I typically go to the Indices futures. And then I'll also bring up FinViz. FinViz is another tool I typically have up pretty much all day. Okay, so if I look at I can look at the Indices futures, or I can go to the major indices now that the market's open. Typically, I have the Indices futures open in pre-market and also after hours. And so we can see where the indices are right now. They're all down. They were up earlier this morning. And one of the interesting things that I noted is that the VIX was up and the S&P was up. And normally, although the VIX is truly just a volatility index, it's not necessarily that the VIX is up when the S&P is down, but it is more typical. typically the VIX goes up and when the S&P goes down. But again, by definition, the VIX is a volatility index. So it's possible if there's a lot of volatility in the S&P, and this is only a measure of the S&P volatility. It was interesting that the VIX was up like 3-4%. It was up in the 28s while the S&P was up. And I wondered if that would indicate a potential rollover. And sure enough, not long after 9:30, I think it started to roll over. And another exciting trade from this morning is we got stopped out of our long positions. We had large positions in VTI. VTI is the total stock market index, and this was another one I wanted to share with you as part of our overall strategy of how we swing trade. Is back probably, I'd have to look at my notes again, but we swung this guy, bought in, went long, a very large position in VTI somewhere near this bottom. It's about 190 or so. So when this guy swung back up, we went long on VTI, and so we've been holding it for a couple weeks, and you can see it peaked up here. And so another exciting thing I was doing this morning is moving my stop up underneath this rising VTI to, again, protect my profits. Because if you listen to our weekly trading game plans for this weekend, the past couple weekends, and we'll look at the indices, I believe we've been in a bear market for a long time, and I believe we're still in a bear market. And I think these rallies we're seeing is what they call a bull rally in a bear market. And so we'll get these pretty violent, pretty dramatic pops, but then the market rolls over and continues down. And that may well be what we're seeing. So obviously I didn't want to give back all my profits. So I'm moving my stop up underneath this guy this morning. And you can see I got stopped out pretty much right at open as they started driving the market back down. So you can see I had my stop at 194.99. Which is another point I want to share with you is why did I have my stop there since it wasn't a pivot point. And the reason I had to go there is the market close price for the VTI, I think it was 195.18. And one of my positions was in Webull, the other one was in a Fidelity account. And Webull will not let me place a stop above the previous closing price. So I think that's a valuable lesson to know is, again, you can't place a stop. Even if something shoots up pre-market, you can't put a stop loss in any higher than the previous closing price. In fact, it won't even let you put it at the previous closing price. It'll tell you the prices are too close or something like that. So I was adjusting it, trying to get as close as I could to the previous closing price that it would let me put that stop in. Because again, I'm trying to maximize my profit in case the market rolled over, and sure enough, it did. So again, some other useful lessons learned. Again, if you're swing trading while you're in school or working, and you're setting your stops pre-market before you go to work, before you go to school, that's a useful thing to know is you can move your stop up just as far as you can below the previous closing price, and then that's as good as you can do until the market opens. Once the market opens, if it had run up further, I could have pushed that stop up farther, but it obviously didn't. So again, we had a nice profit. This profit was about a 2% total ROI on this trade, which equated to about a 5% monthly ROI. And that's typically how I measure the success of my trades is what's the total ROI, and then also equate it to, based on how long I held it, what does that equate to in a monthly? And that allows me to compare trades one to another to say, okay, this was a better trade than that was. And I can do evaluation, go back and look at, well, why? What did I do better here? What can I learn from that? And again, that's something I would always recommend is, review your trades. What did you do well? What could you do better? How could you improve? Sometimes I'm too aggressive with my stops and I get stopped out earlier and it continues up, and I have to learn from that. Next time, don't be quite so aggressive. Stay, a level below. Often I try to stay 2 levels below in volatile stocks that I think are going to continue up. Now, Another one that we just got stopped out on that we were long was big lots. And we went long a couple days ago, last week sometime. We went long on big lots. You could see it was had a nice stable bottom there. Probably went long somewhere in here when it broke VWAP, turned up, and we were long. And again, this was one I was moving my stop up on. And you see there I had my stop at 2271, and it reversed after running up a little bit. It reversed, stopped me out. Looks like it's headed back down. So again, we made some money on big lots. Happy with that. I still like the theme of discount retailers. I think the theme is a good theme. So we will continue to watch big lots for another opportunity. If it comes down here to this support level or lower, we'll look at taking another long position in big lots. So again, this was one where I'm manually trailing this with a stop loss, protecting my profits. And then if I got stopped out, that's fine. I collect my profits, and then I look to buy it in at the same level or cheaper. So why is AMC up? I don't know. I'm not a real big meme stock follower. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the chat knows more about what's going on with AMC. Now, another nice thing I like about Webull, and this is another thing I do at 4 a.m. every morning, is the screeners. And it's got a kind of default screener. So at 4 a.m., one of the first things I do is go to the screeners and see what's moving up and what's moving down. So here, there's EMA, WHD, JKS, Jinko Solar. So I'm guessing solar stocks are doing well. And then I have another screener that's a little bit more focused. I'll show you how the settings for this screener is. So right now this says top 5% change. So this is everybody that's had a 5% change in the past month. And then I can sort this. Typically I sort, percent change up, so we can see who's moving the most up. Well, there's AMC. So AMC's running up. I don't know why, but it is. So hey, Max, glad to see you. I don't know what you baked this morning. I bought Yang, if that's what you were asking. So we see, okay, some energy. Again, this morning I could see the Chinese stocks were running up. BABA, JD, etc. was running up, which meant Yang was going down. We saw a nice gap down. So that was another indication of an opportunity there. Again, I think there's lots of opportunities for shorting the Chinese stocks. The government's pretty volatile. There's catalysts with Taiwan. There's catalysts with Russia. Another one I look at is this markets tab, the global version at 4 a.m. See what the other global markets are doing. Is the Chinese markets up or down? You can see they're up. We can see Europe's up right now. We see North America's pretty much down right now. And again, at 4 a.m., this gives me an indication of, what do I expect in the Chinese stocks. So that's another useful indication. Again, we can flip over here, see what's moving right now. Now, again, I'm primarily a swing trader. I rarely do day trades. So I'm looking more at the theme, the trends, what types of stocks are moving up or down. One of the things we've been watching is uranium. I'm watching several uranium stocks right now. Today, it looks like they're all up. Some of the uranium stocks we're watching, I'll show you my watch list. We have a very short watch list. I've been paring this down lately. So if I sort by the symbols, You can see we're watching Budweiser. And in a second, I'll flip this over to a grid view, which is another nice way in Webull that you can watch essentially a majority of your watch list all at once. But the uranium stocks we're watching are DNN, and you can see in this little heartbeat chart. I'm not sure exactly what they call that. They have another name for it. But we can see all three of my uranium stocks I'm watching: DNN, UROY, which is uranium royalty, and UUUU. They're all up today. So I'm not going to chase them. I'm not going to buy them when they're up. I'm going to wait till they come back down to a support level, which would mean energy pushed down a little bit. And then I would look to go long one of these that looks like it's at a support level. Excuse me a sec. So we can see I put BTI back on the watch list and it's down. Got Yang. I'm already long Yang. And again, another nice thing about Webull right now, this is the list view, but you'll see if I flip over to the grid view, I can see a bunch of charts all at once. And here I've got 4 charts. I can also go up to 16 charts. So you see I can go 9 charts. So there I can see the charts of everything that's currently on my watch list all in one page, which I think is great. Now on Thinkorswim, I'm currently using a flexible grid version that has 4 charts on it. I have one that's across the screen and then 3 on the bottom. I can't really show you that very easily through this StreamYard, but and it's on another machine. But again, in this grid view in Webull is very nice. You can see what's moving up, what's moving down. You can add indicators. If I wanted to add the VWAP on these charts, I could do so. Just select indicator, add VWAP. If I wanted to add pivot points, I could add pivot points. I guess I should do a separate video all on this topic of how to use this grid view. I think it's pretty useful. Typically, I'm looking at the list view and sorting by percent change, but again, I think that's pretty useful. Tuck Built, IMMP, and MMAT. I guess those are all the hot day trade stocks right now, right? I think that IMPP is an oil shipper, and I heard an interview on Benziga, I think, with the guy. I don't know if they're a Greek oil shipper. But I tend not to like those oil shippers. We've got burned back in the day with, I don't know if any of you remember DRYS, dry ships, and tops. And yeah, we got burned with some of those in the past. So I'll go back and we'll see what the markets are doing. It looks like the Dow's recovering a bit. Another nice thing in this investing.com page is on this right-hand chart, and this is typically the one that I watch. If you hover over it, it will show you a chart up here, the graph, so we can see the Dow looks like it recovered. S&P is still kind of down a little bit. The NASDAQ it's recovered a little bit. And then we can see the VIX had spiked up over 28 and then come down. We can also flip over to the commodities. And again, this is one I watch a lot for swings in the commodities. We can see oil. WTI is up right now, 108. So it's below 110, but it's going up again. Natural gas is still dropping. So in a second, we'll look at the futures as well. Yes, CTRM, another shipper. Probably, it sounds familiar. Surprisingly, gold is down, and that's one I wanted to talk about too. Hopefully, you all heard, and I was posting in the beginner trading chat earlier this morning about the G7. Biden pushed the G7 to ban the import of Russian gold. So the supply of gold, the global supply of gold, is decreasing, and the demand would be the same or possibly increasing because of inflation. Now, I can talk a lot more about that, and someone had asked the question, in our chat this weekend about some other gold stocks. So let me see if I can get my list up. Show you a couple things. So while those guys come up, let's look at the FinBiz charts, FinBiz futures. We'll look at the home page. Again, FinBiz is a tool I typically use a lot. Again, you can find the links to all these tools on our homepage under that link section. It's really easy to quickly get to FinBiz, investing.com, etc. So we see the Dow's up a little bit, S&P's up a little bit, Nasdaq's down a little bit. Here's our top runners: EVFM, female health, I believe, possibly contraception. Yeah, we have a number, Tyler. Yeah, we have a number of positions. We've had them for quite a while. Once inflation started heating up all the way into last summer, we started going long silver and gold. So we have some large positions and some monthly dividend paying ETNs, and the gold one is GLDI, the silver one is SLVO. And we also have a number of gold and silver miners. And I was hoping to be able to show you the list of our gold miners that we currently have long positions in. So we can see some of the news. Treasury yields are climbing. Okay, so that's pushing the stocks, particularly the Nasdaq, down. We see the also Russia's defaulting. So now most of the Russian stocks have already been removed. So that would not have a direct impact, but something to think about is anyone that Russia owes money to, they're probably not going to pay. So bondholders, banks that are holding Russian bonds, anybody that's still the Russians owe money to, well, they're defaulting. So that may hurt them. They may have to take a write-off. So we can see some quick charts of the futures. So oil's up. You can see it bounced quite a bit. Natural gas was headed down, bounced a bit. We see gold declined. Again, I find that unusual given that they're removing Russian gold from the market. And we see the futures on all the indices is down. And we see the treasuries are all up and a little bit inverted. So the 5 years has a higher yield than the 10. So there's a little bit of inversion going on there. So again, another thing I usually watch pretty much all during the day is the futures to see what trends. Again, you can see the market indices. So yeah, we see this little peak and it looks like it's potentially rolling over. It's what we talked about. We saw this big bull rally on Friday, and but we're in a declining bear market, so those bull rallies tend to lead to a rollover. Now it could have lasted a couple days, which would have been fine. Again, I'd keep moving my stops up in my VTI position, keep protecting my profits. When it eventually rolled over and turned down, I'd take my profits and then wait for the market to reach a new support level. So that's kind of what we're looking for is once it rolls over, we'll look for the next level of support, and then we'll go long VTI big again and do this all over again. So we see the Russell's holding up a little bit. I know there was a rebalance in the Russell, so there might be more interest right now in that. We see the VIX is reverting to its mean, continuing to go down. Again, if you listen to some of my game plans, etc., I think trading volatility is a good opportunity. There's a couple leveraged ETFs that we trade on a regular basis to trade volatility. The long is UVXY, that's long the VIX. I think it's triple levered long in the VIX, and the equivalent short is SVXY. So we were recently short the VIX and rode this down for a while, got stopped out, took a profit. I'm not going to go long the VIX until it gets down 20-ish or below. just for a longer term swing. But if you want to day trade the VIX, you can do that on a daily basis. And how, yeah, Tyler asks, how do you get yourself to take profits and not be greedy? Yeah, it's just experience and learning and continuous learning. Sometimes, as I mentioned, sometimes I'm too aggressive with my stops, and I get stopped out, and I say, I could have made more money, but uh, any profit is great. Yeah, you're here to make. I'm here to make money. So that's what I have to tell myself is okay. I made money. The shoulda, woulda, couldas. You don't focus on those. Typically, once I'm out of a position, I take it off my current positions list, so I'm not looking at it. I don't know if I missed out on further profits. Just be happy with the profit you had and move on to the next trade. Uh, where's the next trade you need to focus on? Managing your profits, protecting your profits, or maximizing your profits, or the next position to take long. It's a constant activity. So we can see, okay, gold's kind of flattish, silver's popping up a little bit. All these other commodities have really tailed off, but they're still relatively high. And so we've been looking at some of the agriculture stocks. I've got a new ETF I found that covers several of these agricultural stocks. And again, they're still kind of relatively high, but when they bottom out, the ETF I'm looking at is called GRU. And it covers a number of these agricultural stocks. So I have it in my bullpen to watch this GRU when it bottoms, and we'll look at going long those agricultural stocks. There's another ETF on cotton. Cotton's still relatively high, but the ETF to long cotton is BAL. The long on sugar's cane, CANE, and I've been getting some alerts on that one recently. And then we can see the bond prices have rolled over, so the yields are going up, prices are going down, and the dollar's coming down a bit, which actually should buoy up some of the commodities, the precious metals, oil, etc. You don't ken what's going on. Have you been watching Outlander, Larry Love? That's a Scottish show on Netflix, or that's a Scott. The Ken is no, and we've been watching Outlander on Netflix recently. So let's see, where did I put? Okay, so this is our Discord, Beach Bum Trading Community Discord. You can find again the link on our homepage. There's an invite on our homepage. And the quickest way to get to that list of gold, silver stocks is here. I put it under the game plan video on our Discord. So here's a list of gold and silver, or this is gold stocks specifically. Someone had asked, I think it was SPAC or Tanavir had asked about specific individual gold stocks. So these are some other gold stocks that we're currently long. There's ASM, Fury, FURY, GAU. I talked about GLDI, which is the Credit Suisse ETN. This pays a nice monthly dividend. So even though it's if it's below your purchase price, you're collecting a dividend every month just holding it. Several of these others pay dividends. Goro pays a small dividend. I mentioned in this weekend's video, Load I'm actually buying because they have a EV battery, lithium-ion battery recycling capability that I like, and we bought them a while back for that benefit. So we're holding them. We're bag holding Load for a while. But again, I like that EV recycling. A couple others, PZG and USAS, are others that we're all currently long for gold. So a lot of these are below where we bought them. They've declined a lot. So may look attractive opportunities. So, okay. Another thing I wanted to show you guys is some We could talk about other ETFs that you can use to play a variety of other indices, commodities, etc. And let me check the chat and see if there's anything else you guys would like to chat about in terms of swing trading. Please let me know. So this is, and I'll show you these functions because Douglas PC, I guess he's now Eric Douglas. He changed his handle I saw in the chat this morning. In some of the chats, the Discords, his username is Douglas PC or Bernard PC. He was nice enough to find these Google Finance functions that you can use in Google Sheets to pull data directly from Google Finance. They're a little bit delayed, so I think it's about a 20-minute. Yeah, see at the bottom it says, okay, they're delayed about 20 minutes. But what I'm using these for is to identify potential ETFs to watch for swing trades. So really at the end of the day, I'll go through, it'll pull the last price and it will look at a risk reward profile. So I'm using the 52-week low and the 52-week high to calculate a risk reward profile for the year to say, okay, well, who's close to their bottom price and might look like a good swing going forward. And I have a number of categories. You know, we were talking about the Bitcoin ones. This BITI released on the 21st. So it launched on the 21st. It was a little bit late. Bitcoin had already declined quite a bit. It would have been nice if they had this earlier. I probably would have gone long BITI as Bitcoin declined. Walter was asking earlier if I was long either of these, and not right now because it's declined quite a bit and I don't think it's at the bottom. Just my opinion. So, but if you want to short Bitcoin at this point, you can use BITI. If you want a long Bitcoin, you can use BITO. You can see right now the 52-week risk reward is better for the long because it's declined so much. So. And again, thank you to Douglas PC, Eric Douglas, for turning us on to these Google Finance functions. You can see how they work. It's using the column header to pull the parameter. So the ticker is the first parameter, the attribute you want to pull, then you can do a range and interval. I've not dug deeply into these yet. I'm just starting to update my spreadsheets to use them. But you can see how they're used and how useful that is. So is there any particular area somebody would like to look at while I'm here? Yes, Walter. As you can see, I'm missing some data yet. I'd like to be able to find the support, the nearest support and resistance, so I can calculate a risk reward based on the nearest support and resistance, and also the long-term top and bottoms. Right now, I've got the 52-week, and then in those cases where I've entered that data, which I take by looking at a FinViz chart. So if we just look at BITO for an example, again, I really like the FinViz charts because as you can see, it's drawing some nice support levels, some trends. You've got the moving averages. So here we can see there's a pivot point on BITO around 2275. So that's what I would put in, you know, as a potential resistance level on BITO. So I could put in 2275. And I can find a support level. If nothing better, I would take the 52-week low. So we can zoom out a bit. This probably hasn't been around long enough to have a long, yeah, see, it doesn't have a long history. So the nearest support is going to be the 52-week low. I must be, oh, because he's calculated from that, so I guess I have to enter it. Now we can see the risk reward currently for between the support and resistance levels on BITO is only 1.7. I have conditional formatting turned on this spreadsheet so that any risk reward greater than or equal to 2 will show up as bright green because that's the typical risk reward profile that I want to see. So you can see I have to currently manually plug these in. So we know also the bottom on BITO is 1276. If I look at I'm sure the top price is probably the 52-week high. It is because we know it hasn't been around that long. So I can plug that in 44.29. And we can see a bottom to top is 3.4. So the long range risk reward profile on BITO is attractive, but the near term is not because it's still less than 2. So Walter, yeah, I have automatic polls from FinViz that currently go into a Microsoft Access database, and Eric was nice enough to also post some additional information. It's just time. I am overwhelmed, swamped with everything that I'm doing, just trying to keep up. So I make those enhancements as I'm able. Typically long weekends, etc. I have a whole list of many enhancements that I would like to be able to make to my systems. Um, I'd still like to be able to get my Gmail alerts up to show you if I can. We'll see. And I guess we started about 10:30, so I don't want to go more than an hour, so I'll try to keep it under an hour. But again, we could talk about anything y'all want to talk about. So you just have to let me know what kind of swing trading topics can I help you with. That's my objective. How can I help you be successful in your trading? I did want to look at the news. I was just about to post this when we started this. Again, on investing.com, you can get the economic news. And I know they just came out with the housing data. I think it was 10 o'clock or so. So let's see what the housing say. Earlier, we got the durable goods data. And actually, although this is showing green because it was better than expected, in my humble opinion, the fact that durable goods orders is higher than expected is actually a negative because that's one of the things Powell was talking about last week as the effect they can have on inflation is higher interest rates should decrease durable goods orders. Now, this is back from May, so it's a little bit old, but this says durable goods orders are not abating. So that says their interest rate hikes has not yet taken effect. It's not having the effect that they deserve or that they desired, and that very well may be the reason for the rollover in the markets. So we saw pending home sales was actually positive. So that's a little bit better for the housing market. Now, again, that may be viewed as a negative in terms of inflation, right? Because if people are still buying homes, if they're still bidding up homes, and again, we talked this weekend that when people buy homes, they also buy a lot of other things. They buy furniture, they buy, appliances, they do home repairs and home improvements. So it's actually, it's generally viewed that home sales increasing is a positive for the economy, but in this case, it may be a further inflationary indicator. So, um, again, we've got two pieces of data that says inflation is not really cooling down, even though Powell wanted his inflation hikes to cool the economy down, reduce inflation. We're just not seeing that yet. So again, the economic calendar, and then, this is today's data. You can look at tomorrow's data. We can look at everything that's coming up this week. Again, I like this, and it's got the nice, red-green indicators. Now, one of the things I do as this data comes out is I will take a screenshot of that and I put that in. We have a channel in our Discord called Surf the Markets Reports, and I typically take the screenshot as well as the raw data, and I'll paste that in our Surf the Markets Reports channel there. So again, you can find an invite on our homepage to our Discord. So you can see, we've got more housing data coming up tomorrow. We've got manufacturing data, again, economic indicators, got more mortgage data, got some GDP. Again, this will be important to tell us, are we in a recession? And again, as I've been saying, I believe we've been in a recession already, but they just haven't released the data to confirm it. The definition of a recession is 2 quarters of declining GDP. We've already had one, and we just haven't had the data come out from the second quarter to confirm, yes, we're in a recession. So this may indicate, how close are we, how deep is it going to be, etc. So then we get PCE, again, more inflation data, also jobless claims data. And again, these are all potential catalysts for volatility. So if this data comes out different than expected, different than the market expected, we would expect volatility to increase. And if it's worse inflation, higher probability recession, then you would expect the markets to react negatively to that. Anything that shows that inflation is abating, that the market may have what they call a soft landing, would be positive for the market. So again, here's the Surf the Markets channel in our Discord. You can see I post, screenshots of this data and also the raw data as quickly as I'm able to as this data comes out in the morning. So I'll go back to the indices, see where we're at, catch up on the chat. I agree, Tyler. I've been saying for a while that I believe we're in a recession, and so far the data is confirming that. And the inflation isn't showing any signs of abating. Now, the employment numbers are, employment's ticking up a little bit, unemployment's ticking up a little bit. We're hearing additional layoffs. They're removing job postings. Some companies are laying off. And one of the things I've been talking about for a while in our game plans is watch for the domino effect on that. And meaning, for example, let's take Tesla, for example. Tesla's laying off. So that says, they see their sales declining. So if they're going to sell fewer Teslas or build fewer Teslas, then their suppliers are going to get fewer sales. Well, who are their suppliers? So then we'd look at their suppliers having decreased sales, and so they're probably going to lay off. So any company you hear of these layoffs, the tech companies, Snap, etc., anybody that's laying off, you want to start thinking, okay, who are their suppliers? Because they're going to have decreased sales, and they're probably going to be next to lay off, and maybe you can front run the suppliers going down. So I hope that helps. So we see the S&P and NASDAQ are still down a little bit. NASDAQ's, down a little more. Dow just went red. We see the VIX is still about 27. It's a little lower than it was. Again, I like to see these screens in investing.com. You can get a quick look. We can see oil popped up to 109s going up. So again, if you want to day trade oil, Another benefit of this nice little spreadsheet, if you want to pick oil companies, individual companies, you can, or again, I use this spreadsheet and say, okay, well, what do I want to play oil up? So oil up, I could play Gush or UCO. USOI is another one of these Credit Suisse monthly dividend payers. And then here's a new one on microsectors, US Big Oil Index, NRGU. And you can see it is actually the most attractive in terms of risk reward profile for oil. So again, if you want to go chase oil right now, there's 4 ETFs that you can use to play oil. These guys are on companies. USO and NRGO are on oil and gas companies. UCO is on the actual WTI price. So if you want to short oil, we are long drip shorting oil, and another you could short the WTI price using SCO. Can you make money in a recession? Yes. We can make money in any market because you can play either direction, right? If it's going up, you can make money longing going up. If it's going down, you can make money longing the shorts. I mean, you can short individual stocks. Again, most of our accounts are in retirement accounts where I can't short individual stocks. So that's why I use these inverse ETFs. Is I can short a commodity, so I can't short, Marathon Oil directly, but I can long drip, which is effectively shorting oil. Or as I mentioned, we have a position that's long cold, which is shorting natural gas. So I make, in fact, I'll never say making money in the market is easy. It's never easy. It's work. It takes hard work. But in some ways, going down is easier than going up, just because, as you've heard people say, the markets tend to take a staircase up and an elevator down. Also, fear is a stronger emotion. So, when you see these fear fall offs in the markets, they tend to be more dramatic and easier to follow down. So, yeah, you can make plenty of money in a recession. It's a matter of figuring out who's going to go down, who's going to be hurt the most. Now, some companies are not going to make it, right? If they have high debt and it's interest rate sensitive debt, uh, and they don't have profit, they may well go out of business. They'll probably either get bought out if they have something of value that one of the big guys wants. They're going to buy them when they're cheap, right? So I expect further mergers and acquisitions of companies that do have something of value, intellectual property, customer lists, etc. In fact, Spacula and I were talking about that in the Discord the other day about biotechs in specific, but then how this trend is likely to permeate the market. So yeah, more mergers and acquisitions of companies that are valuable. Others aren't going to survive the recession. So be careful holding unprofitable companies, particularly ones with high debt that's interest rate sensitive. But again, I just wanted to show these declines. We see how quickly things could decline. Now we have a nice, uptrend, so we play the trends, right? Make money going up. When it rolls over, make money coming down. When it's choppy like this, John just released his range-based scalping method. Well, when something's range-based, then you can make money by bouncing back and forth in those ranges. So, yes, again, I really want to stress. In answer to Ace Lee's question, that we can make money in any market. It's just a matter of, how, what to play, when to play it. So yeah, and there's no reason to panic. Again, no reason to get out of the market. You can be making money. So I hope that helps. So I think if anybody has any further questions, I'll jump back to the home page of FinBiz. We'll look at where the markets are right now. And if you have any further questions, please post them in the chat. I'll try to answer as many as I can before we wrap up. Let me make sure I covered everything on my watch list. Yeah, we talk about uranium again. I'm waiting for a push down in energy. Last week, the downward pressure in energy was pushing uranium down along with oil and natural gas, and I like uranium. Uranium's another very cyclical commodity. So, and it was those uranium stocks were close to a support level. So I was hoping, a little bit more downward pressure in the uranium stocks would give us an entry. They're all running up today with the rest of energy right now, but I wouldn't be surprised to get a reversal, sometime this week, and we'll get a crack at them. To answer your question, Walter, is Eric posted the bit on Google Sheets, I think in the suggestion box. So, and I intend to post more information about these Google um, finance functions as I learn more. Again, I've just barely started utilizing them, benefiting. There's documentation, etc. And Eric's posted a link to the documentation, etc. So I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to benefit from those. Again, it's important to know that the data is delayed, so it's great for building your watch list. Or building or updating your watch list, but not so accurate for day trading, right? But again, if you've identified things that are attractive on your watch list, you get them on your watch list, and then which is exactly what we do, right? As I go through those lists every day, I run a number of queries in my database, look for attractive setups, and then I add those to my watch list, and then I can watch them real time in something like a Webull or a Thinkorswim grids, and we can say, oh, I can have my price target lines in there if I want, and I can say, okay, who looks attractive that I want to buy right now, or who looks like they're going to roll over, or need to move my stop, whatever. So I hope that helps. So let me bring up again. Here's our home page. Again, this is the link section, etc. Is I think is a great resource to quickly and easily get to all of these various pages. I want to bring up our YouTube page real quickly while that loads. We can look at FinViz again. So yeah, pretty flat. Markets are pretty flat, pretty just choppy. Dow and S&P are up a little, Nasdaq's down a little bit. We saw Treasury yields were kind of pushing up, so that's kind of to be expected. EBFM's the big runner for the day. That's that biotech. Big short, PBTS, software company, Chinese software company. So that should help my Yang position a little bit, although that's on the biggest Chinese tech stocks. We see news, fickle trading, rebalancing week. Okay, so we expect kind of choppy. Strong, durable goods data. See, as I was mentioning, I thought that data is actually going to be perceived as a negative because of inflation. See, oil's still running up, natural gas is running up, gold finally popped up a little bit. See, the Treasury yields are high. Yeah, Mark Porridge Holdings, Tyler, that's one we put in our bullpen. I have another watch list. And this is one that I'm not watching real time during the day. But Mark Forge is one we added just this week to our bullpen. Now, these are stocks that at the end of the day, what I'll do is I'll go through the stock screen and I'll bring up this bullpen watch list and I'll just go through each of the charts. So we've got this dry bulk shipping, and I'm looking for an attractive setup. Is it bottomed? Is it at support? Is it something that I want to? So here's one. It's a little high, clicks. It's an ETF on retail stores, long, online, e-commerce, short, brick and mortar. Got Ford. I like Mark Forged. They're profitable. So at least it looks like they recently went profitable. You can see it's a little bit higher than what I'd like. ARK, Kathy Woods has also been buying Mark Forge lately. Um, so there's some support. If it comes back down, you see it's rolling over. So within a day or two, it might be something that we move up to our watch list to look to buy. We're looking at both sides of I don't think, Tyler, I don't think metamaterials is profitable, are they? I'd have to dig them up to look, but I don't think they are. And I'm staying away from companies that are not profitable in general. So you can see we're looking at the swings in semiconductors. You can use SOXL to long semiconductors and SOXS to short semiconductors. So there's always, an opportunity in that sector. Treasury yields. Another uranium that's not quite as low as I would like it is URNM. And then we talked about the Chinese yang and yen. So yeah, I like Mark Forge. We've got it in the bullpen. It comes down a little bit. We'll put it in the game, move it up to our main watch list, and look to go long Mark Forge. Now I have a whole nother watch list of 3D printers. And I added that to our watch list of 3D printers, and we're already long a number of these. We're long DDD already. We're long Materialize. We're long NNDM. We're long PRLB. Some of these I've had for quite a period of time. We've traded Stratasys, VJet in the past. So I like the sector. It also has a long-term swing, so you have to be patient. Again, these swings can be months to years. So I won't bore you with that whole story. So I'm not sure what AMBL is offhand. Yeah, I'm not sure what that is. AMBL is not coming up in FinViz. So, okay, I'm going to go ahead and try to get wrapped up. So, if you have any further questions, please feel free to hit me up in our Discord or the Beginner Trading Discord. I'm hanging out there. And if you tag me, use @BeachBumTrading. Um, you can ask me any questions there. You can contact us via social media. All of our social media links are here on our homepage. You can join us in our Discord. Again, all kinds of ways. If you have any further questions, want further help with your swing trading, etc., be happy to help. This is our YouTube channel, Beach Bum Trading. So we'd love to have you subscribe to our channel as well. Again, we primarily focus on swing trading, whereas John, I know he does talk about swing trading as well, but tends to focus on day trading. So I think we make a nice complement. And again, I'm happy to be here. I thank you to John for the opportunities. And since John's there, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up if that's okay and try to close down. So again, you can hit me up in the Beginner Trading Discord as well. And we have links to that on our homepage as well. So thank you again all for joining. And please let John know what you thought of this. Do you want more this type of content, more swing trading? What else how can we improve this to add value to you, to help you succeed in your trading career? That's what we're here for. We're here to help you succeed in your trading career. So thank you again for joining us. Let us know what you think, how we can improve, and good luck and have a great trading week.